So we have many needs, many things, many needs. Say for anything, how much you need, you don't know. If you say anything, what you need it, we cannot say. But God knows how much we need. God knows how much we need. Our topic. James 1:19. James 1:19 says, "Let every man swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger." So we can hear, we can listen, we can speak. But there are riders on it. There is the limits. So God knows what we need. So big idea is we must try to live within the limits set for God for us. We must try to live within the boundaries set by God for us. Today's text is Galatians 5:22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Self-control. God's purpose for man is fruitfulness. You be fruitful and multiply. In Genesis, God says. What is fruitfulness? Physical as well as in spiritual realms. Why we need to grow in the fruit of the Spirit? Today, we meditate on one of the fruit of Spirit, that is self-control. Fruit of the Spirit produces one's life with good morals, good motives, and doing good things which pleases God. What pleases God? So, if you call ourselves as a Christians, new creation having Christ's mind, we must demonstrate ever increasing fruit of Spirit every day. Because it affects others and us also. When you are fruitful, the other people also will be affected. They will look to the God. Self-control is mother of all virtues. You have seen 9 fruits. Love, peace, joy, patience, kindness, and faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. If you want to love, self-control is positive and negative. It controls, love the God. If you want to have kindness, self-control directs you to be kind to others. If you want to have goodness, self-control restrict your bad habits and be good to others. Self-control make you faith to God, faithfulness. Self-control restrict you and make you gentle. So, self-control is mother of all virtues. The reason for man becomes sinful is lack of self-control, which directs him to the sin. So today we meditate on the self-control, one of the fruit of spirits. How much is enough for you? How much enough is enough? How much enough is enough for you? We say it is enough, but it is not enough. There is no stuff for enough. So our desires are more and more. We cannot stop it. Psalms 119:96 says, I have learned that everything has limits. It says, everything has limits. God is the author of limitations. He put them for our good. He put them for our good, all the limitations. Say, when the Israelites are there in the wilderness, they need some food. God gave them manna, told them, you collect manna for this day only. There is a limit for that. There is a limit for that. God knows what is your need and says. And see, 1 Corinthians 9:24-25 says, every athlete exercise control, use control to win the crown. Every athlete exercise control. It's a positive control, negative control. See, self-control means control ourselves. Lyndon B. Johnson, American president. So while he was doing morning exercise, his wife told, how fatty you are. If you are not able to control yourself, how can you control the America? Then he tried for some time, reduces, so 10 pounds or 10 kgs. See, God desires the best for us. But to live best life, you need to set boundaries to you. You must set boundaries to you. You are free to do anything, but you set boundaries to all things. See, Proverbs 25:28 says, a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left with walls. See, the man who is not having self-control, it's like a city, wall broken, I exposes to everything, every enemy, every wild things, every calamities. So you are exposed to those sins. So self-control is necessary to prevent these things. And Proverbs 16:32 says, the man who is slow to anger is better than mighty. That the mighty person is there. The one who slow to anger is better than, and the man who rules his spirit is better than who conquers the city. So that is the importance of the self-control. Aristotle, Greek philosopher Aristotle says, who conquers his spirit is best than who conquers his enemy. He is the best man. He is the best man. So, self-control is necessary to prevent yourself from the sin. A wall broken is exposed to the sin. Sin always tries to enter into your things. Self-control in all your ways. So a man went to the diabetic. He says, doctor checks, what is your 80 to 130 mg/dl is the ideal. You should not exceed that, or you should not below that. If the sugar levels is below that, he will fall into. If it is high, it is a problem. If you have the hypertension, 80 by 120 is the ideal. It should not go more or should not go below. There is a limit. There is a limit. So, for that, we have to exercise self-control. Yourself you have to control. You have to control yourself in all respects. You are free to do anything, but you must control. Why we need SC? Self-control. SC means. See, there are so many things, but we talk about only 3 things. Self-control is necessary to resist temptation. Temptation. So, see, and prevent falling into sin. Temptation, prevent falling into sin. Self-control is. If you see Joseph, so he was as a slave at Potiphar's house. He was seduced by the beautiful Potiphar's wife. So what he had to do? He got a good opportunity. He can do anything. He is almost king over Potiphar's house. But what? See, Joseph said, he exercised self-control and not fell into the trap. See, he responds to the God's call. First thing, how he resisted temptation. See, Psalms 119:11 says, "Your word I have stored in my heart, so that I may not sin." I stored your word so that I may not sin. See, Joseph says, if I do this sin, what God thinks? Response to God's call. And whenever you are tempted, refuse to stand there. Do not be there. Because you have the self-control with your powers. That will stand for some time. After that, you will fall. If a diabetic person sees the sweets, see, and went there and eats more than others, to some certain extent, he will exercise control because he is weak, he will eat it. So, see, you should not stand in a place, tempting place. And third one, fled from the situation. What Joseph did it? He listened to the God's word and he tried to be away from that. He fled from the situation. So, self-control. Timothy 6:11 says, "Oh man of God, flee from these things. Flee from these things." You think you are a strong man. Word of God says, flee from these things. Secondly, self-control is necessary to be in union with God. Amos 3:3 says, "How can two walk together if they don't agree?" If you see Enoch, Genesis 5 tells that Enoch walked with the God. That pleased the God. This is one of the faith heroes. See, when you want to walk with the God, you must please the God. Enoch walked with the faith and fellowship with the God and pleased the God. See, when you do that, you can have union with the God. God says, "I am holy, you must be holy." How you can be holy? Exercise self-control in all things which God says. Then you can please the God. So, friendship with anyone is, you must please them by restricting all your things, so that you will say, "I am interested in this person." Without self-control, we cannot obey the God. See, God says obey. If you don't have, so why should I? Why should I? You restrict your this thing. Put under your self-control and obey to God. Obey to God. Jonah went, go to the Nineveh. Resisted. Later, self-control. He went to the Nineveh. We should exercise self-control in many areas of life to please the God. Many areas. Without self-control, you cannot practice patience. You cannot practice patience. You will burst into that anger. Without self-control, you cannot be kind. What is there? Why should be? Go. The mind says, be cool. Don't do that. Be kind. Without self-control, you cannot show the goodness. You are proud and you won't show the goodness. Without self-control, you cannot be gentle, arrogant. So the self-controls restrict you. Be in your limits. Be gentle. So without self-control, we cannot please the God, because all these areas are God sees. So if you want to please the God, have self-control in all our things. Second one. See, self-control is necessary to have good relationship with others. So Ephesians 4:22 says, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as Christ forgave you. As Christ forgave you, you forgive this. This is a direction to you. Self-control helps us to resist impulses, adjust, and prevent us from making a decision that will hurt others. And you may use harsh words, hurt them. Self-control, don't talk like that. Self-control, don't talk. Is the elder, don't talk. Is the poor, don't be angry with them. So self-control directs. Self-control keeps us a strong relationship. See, David and Jonathan has a friendship. How they became so friends. David shows mercy and Jonathan shows mercy. Both have exercised self-control. Not vertical, they are regarding about their positions. The relationship is very good. If you call a person how your friend, he will also call a friend. The relationship is good. If you say, hey, useless fellow, he will say some other thing. What is your relationship? You cannot continue. If he says also, okay, we will be controls. People always says, be control. When you are going up, be control. So that is the thing. Self-control, see. We should not always seek our self. You should seek the help of others. You should seek about others. Somebody asks, so I want this. You also want this. He is a good friend of. Okay, take it. You have to sacrifice yourself, control yourself. Give him a chance. See, in a survey, the people who are having self-control, they are forgivers. They forgive. That fellow, okay, let it be. He is a foolish. He doesn't know. Not foolish, he doesn't know. Okay, let it be. He will realize and come back to me. Some examples of self-control is refraining from cheating. You may cheat your friend. Holding back, saying something harsh to him. Hold back. Don't say anything to him. Don't avoid gossips. See, that breaks relationship. Avoid gossips. You are interested about God. Don't do gossips about others at their back. Don't use harsh words. His spirit will hurt if you say harsh words. That's not good. That's not. You want to say politely. Say politely. Don't use harsh words. Don't use provocative words. Don't provoke him. Don't provoke him. Don't do the actions hurting others. It all comes under self-control. If you have self-control, you can do these things. Otherwise, you won't do it. There are all restrictions. It's control your moods. Restricting your moods. Secondly, in what aspects we have to exercise self-control? There are so many things, but I deal with only two things. One is the heart. Second is the moral purity. The heart of the human problem. The heart of the human problem is the problem of the human heart. See, the heart of the human problem is the human heart. There is no problem. Problem in your heart. Problem in your heart. Jeremiah says, 79, the heart is deceitful above all. It is desperately wicked. Who can understand it? Who can understand? There is a wickedness in the heart which we are unable to understand, which we don't know. You don't know the wickedness of your heart. All of our hearts are sick because sin permeated into that. Sin is there. So don't follow your heart's directions. It leads you from God to sin. Don't listen to your heart. Paul explains, I do not do the good which I wanted to do. I do what I should not do. I want to do good things, but I cannot do. See, there are two things in the thought. See, why is thought is so important? For doing anything, you will think. Is it correct? Sow a thought. Reap a deed. Sow a deed. Reap a habit. Sow a habit. Reap a character. Sow a character. Reap a destiny. Your thought will lead you to destination. So many people, I will not forgive him for a long time, for a lifetime. His thought is that. Solomon says, and God saw. See, in the no times, God saw that the wickedness of man was so great on the earth. And everything, imagination of the thoughts of his heart, it will continually before God. Every imagination of your thought of the heart, every imagination of your thought of the heart is continually evil before the God. God repented. It's grieved at his heart for creating the people. See, God did wrong thing. God will not do a never wrong thing. But God repented. Why I have done it? Here I see only one thing God says. Never he says anything. Everything is correct. But God see why I have created. Means he has did wrong thing. We don't know. It's grieved his heart. So imagination of the thought is wild and grieved heart. So God decided to wipe out the entire humanity then. Secondly, control your emotions. See, if you don't control your emotions, emotions will control you. See, your emotions, frustration, cowardness. God told Moses, so they are asking for the water. Moses went to the God. God said, go and speak to the rock. He was frustrated with this, ongoing ripple or things there. They are doing so many things, casting allegations against Moses. Why you brought here? In frustration, he struck the rock. Emotions. He is unable to control his emotions. So far he lost his opportunity to enter into the promised land. See, another. Israelites defeated, what is that? And went to the high. There they got defeated. The reason is somebody stole the forbidden things. God told, don't steal any forbidden things. But Achan, one of the person, stole gold, silver, and dresses. Covetousness. He could not control emotions and did the thing. For this reason, his entire family was punished. So, my dear friends, self-control is required for controlling your emotions. Always says, hold back. If you want to tell, hold 10 minutes. Then your emotion will change. You got emotion. Don't go there. Wait for some time. Then you will recede from that. See, secondly, self-control or moral purity. First Thessalonians 4:3, 4th chapter and 3 says, God says, you should avoid sexual immorality and control your own body and make it holy. If you see the David Bathsheba incident, David is man after God, but as is unable to control that situation. He indulged in moral sexual immorality. He took Bathsheba to his bed. She was conceived. He was lied for some time. He killed her husband. The great sin. God says avoid sexual immorality. How strong one may be. David is very strong. But your strength is not enough to withstand before the Satan's thing. He went, saw Bathsheba, was fascinated by her. He has done everything. He is for the God. God pleased with the David and say, he is man after my heart. But he is also unable to do it. So do not go near to temptation. You may think I have the control, but you cannot. David broke every one of the 10 commandments in this. Stole his, coveted his others, killed, lied, many things. What are they? So don't allow you to be in any compromising positions where sin is there. Where you know you cannot win it. If you have already given into sexual temptation, or if you have involved in that, come to Jesus. Come to Jesus. It's a natural sexual attraction and these things. People tend to fall in it. Always says, don't go alone with the lady. So in my office also, whenever lady comes, my officers call me, call somebody, not to be alone. Not to be alone. So don't come here. See, not to be alone. Thirdly, run after God, not after the virtues. You want to do many things, virtues, good qualities. Self-control is needed to do good things. Self-control is needed to avoid bad things. To do good things, self-control prompts you, do it, do it, do it. To avoid bad things, self-control say no, 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 no. So self-control is needed, not only for bad things, for doing good things also. It will prompt you, encourage you, do it, do it. Attempt to do both the things depending on your ability fails. You may have, I know it, I will do it. But it says fail. See, self-control is the fruit of the Spirit. Unless you have the fruit of the Spirit, you cannot exercise that. With your ability, you may go for certain extent, but not all. So, fruit of Spirit. Paul says, I want to do good things, but I am unable to do it. See how the man is the Paul, but he is unable to do it. Because with his own ability, he tried to do that. But it's not possible. Without God, we cannot do good things. You may think I can do good things. John 15:5 says, you can do nothing without me. You can do nothing good without me. All good things which come from the God. Virtues, good qualities, not inborn. Has anybody born with the good qualities? No. They are bestowed by the Spirit of the God. He transforms you into having that ability. To have the self-control, you need not go for the virtue. I am a calm, I will do it. No, you go to the Spirit of the God. Spirit of the God gives self-control. So pursue God, not the virtues. Many people pursue the virtues to do many things. They will fail. They will fail. Solomon asked God, when he constructed a temple, and asked God, God, this is a vast population, multitude. I cannot control. I cannot control. What he asked? Not money, not to defeat his enemies. He asked God's wisdom. He desired God. That pleased the God. Solomon has so much strength, so many armies and everything, wisdom. But he asked God for your guidance I require. Your guidance I require. So if you give importance to the self-virtues, emotions are led by that, they are God in your life. In your life. You make them as a God in your life, and God has no place in your life. You just depend on the virtues and says they are your gods. How do you tame wild emotions? So you say that with my self, with my attitudes, I will do that. How do you tame your wild negative emotions? Can you do that? Can you do that? Worst of Satan's favorite tool is negative emotions. he proliferate negative emotions in yourself, in ourself. He will use fear, resentment, jealousy, envy, bitterness, worry, anxiety, discouragement, frustration in you. Can you control? Everybody says helpless, helpless, helpless. You need the control of God to wipe out these things, to overcome these things. Zechariah 4 says, you will not succeed by your strength, own strength, but by spirit only you can succeed. Zechariah says, you will not succeed by your strength. Only by my spirit you can do it. Self-control is from Holy Spirit. It is a fruit of the Spirit. Self-control comes from the God. It's not your ability, your inborn quality. It should come from the God. The more I let God control my mind and emotions, the more self-control I have. If I allow myself to be controlled by the God, I will have more self-control. So 1 Peter 5:8 says, be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around you like a roaring lion and looking for someone to devour. He says, be self-controlled, alert. Today, our portion is, we have liberty, but we have restrictions. God knows what you need it. He fixed limits for everything. You cannot exercise all your abilities. So, too much good is also not good. It's bad. Too much, see, people use jokes too much. Suddenly one stabs another. That's a good thing. But too much good is also not good. There is a limit for everything. God says, planted truth is, don't eat that. You did. Put a right at it. Adam and Eve. God says in our lives also, so many riders. So, we need to exercise self-control to so restrict and not follow that and do good things. So, we must try to live within the limits set for by the God within us. So, God bless this meditation.